Hello, sir.
Hello.
You come from the States, right?
Yes, I do.
And
California.
You came here to Israel for a special visit, not specially for the Itamar Act, but you came here to write about Israel, right?
Yes.
So tell me, firstly, why are you pro-Israeli?
Well, I'm pro-Israel because I'm pro-America. I have a very deep understanding of the challenges facing America and other representative democracies that have rule of law, that respect human rights, minority rights around the world. There are very few countries where you actually have democracy and rule of law and respect for minorities. America is one such country. Israel is one such nation.
You've always been such a pro-Israeli writer or politician in the past?
Well,
you were a politician
when I was in
before?
college, I began by thinking that I was neutral or I was balanced. I then had the opportunity to do a study abroad program, and I studied at American University in Cairo in Egypt, studied Islamic political thought, learned some Arabic, lived there for half a year, came to Israel 3 times. This is in the 1980s, 1984, 1985. And as I saw Egypt and as I saw Israel, the West Bank, later traveled to Lebanon with the IDF, I began to understand that Israel was a bastion of freedom and democracy and a land of dictators, a land where there was no human rights to speak of. And I also then began to appreciate the strategic importance of Israel for America.
And you write about it. Now, I'm going to tell the public, our viewers, that you write a blog, and you tweet, and you have statuses on Facebook, and you write for a paper also.
Yes.
So you write a lot.
I enjoy writing, and I enjoy sharing with people my opinion.
Now,
I guess that could almost make me an Israeli.
Yeah. So, first of all, I would like to ask you, why did you come to Itamar to see with your eyes what has happened there? I mean, it wasn't your goal coming to Israel this time, but you asked specially to take me there.
We did. There was a couple of reasons why. Number one, it was a very horrific tragedy, a horrific terrorist attack. And our concern was that it needed to be reported on by as many people as possible. And then as we were beginning...
You mean the facts?
The facts. And
they are.
And as we were beginning to make the decision to go, we also read some of the major media coverage of Itamar. And one of the things that discouraged me immensely was my hometown newspaper, the Los Angeles Times, intimated in their article that somehow this might have been a revenge attack, as if to justify the slaughter of this family, that supposedly the residents of the area had perhaps damaged some olive trees or torched some Palestinian cars.
Are you implying that the American press is biased?
I'm implying that some members of the American press are lazy. Some members of the American press do not have a historical understanding of the region. Some members of the American press may be naive and not understand that when they speak to an entity like the Palestinian Authority or Hamas, that because of the fear factor, because of the unity of message, they may not get the truth. In fact, they may get a lie that's purposefully told to them so as to provide an information advantage to Hamas, to the Palestinian Authority. And it takes a type of journalist that there are less of these days to follow that through. In America, newspapers are dying left and right. They're cutting their budgets because the new media is cutting into
But you are the new media. Now you have to
both
be...
new and old,
I mean,
yes.
You are the new media, meaning that you write a blog and
Yes.
then you
Yes.
tweet. And when you are the new media, you have a total control of what you
No
write,
editors.
right? No
Right,
editors.
right.
That's true. But the other people also have the same control. Now, sometimes here in Israel, we tend to complain that the Israeli government has no idea how to make this, what we call hasbara, is explaining to the others what our problems are. Do you feel that when Israelis are explaining you the facts, are doing a good job?
When telling Israel's story to the world, it's important to understand that Israel is more than just its government. Permanent members of the government, the bureaucracy, the bureaus, they tend to be very cautious, very risk-averse, and slow. And being slow is a deadly sin in the social media. When you're dealing with Facebook and Twitter and blogs, the YouTube, the information has to be instantaneous and reactive. Now, Israel also has an advantage because you're a parliamentary democracy, meaning that your cabinet members are elected members of your parliament, of your Knesset.
So they can represent.
So they themselves can tweet, can put things on Facebook, on their own blogs, because they're elected. And so they are their own bosses in that regard.
So you understand the fact that perhaps you pick up the phone, you want to call someone in Israel or in the embassy in Washington or whatever, and ask some information. You can understand the fact that they don't have immediately the info you need?
Right. No government will do that. Now, here's the other advantage Israel has. It's a very literate and very high-tech nation. You have a lot of people here who know how to use social media, and if they're not yet, they need to. Because what's happening is on American universities, and the enemies of, pardon me, the enemies of Israel are using social media to get their story across.
So you're saying, dear government, Israeli government, take your citizens and let them do your job.
Mobilize the citizens in the new media. The members of the Knesset should lead. The citizens should also participate, because here's what happens. When I went to Itamar last night, I took a few photographs. I had just a few basic comments that I put on my Twitter account and on my Facebook account. Roughly 27,000 people subscribed to those two things. That information then started to be shared around the world, and some Israelis even chimed in and commented positively. And what I was doing was getting out information that was contrary to what the Los Angeles Times said. Now, that was only 27,000 people or so, but the point is that that information was then multiplied and shared. Now, if you don't do that...
But then again, and I have to go back again to the question I had before. The press in the States is changing.
Yes.
For example, the CNN had a comma, just to show that it wasn't a terror attack. It wasn't surely a terror attack. So they quoted it as it was an Israeli saying that it was a terror attack. How can you fight the standard media, the old one?
We've actually had this problem for quite a long time. This is not a new problem with the media. What's new is that they're even less experienced and less knowledgeable about history and world affairs than they were 20 or 30 years ago because of the cost pressures that are causing layoffs of foreign correspondents for the newspapers and for the television. And so what's happening is the major networks and the cable are going down, newspapers are going down, social media is becoming more important. Blogs, websites like bigpiece.com and ricochet.com are becoming more important. Red County, various Huffington Post and Drudge Report, in addition to things like Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. And see, the thing about these things is that they're very democratic. Anybody with a computer and the internet access can participate.
So actually your advice is to the Israeli people and to the government here, don't be sad. Even if the papers are against you, the public opinion will be always ruled by those who have the power. And today, this is social media. Invest in those people. Right. Invest in me, Chuck, for example, because I can report to millions of people.
The battle is won by those who show up. And right now, the people who are often showing up are people who, at best with the press, are not your friends. They view Israel as the powerful person on the block, and they view your neighbors as the oppressed. This is also a problem in the American academia on many university campuses.
So actually Israel is losing the battle over the public opinion in the States.
But there's no reason why Israel should, because so many Israelis speak English, so many Israelis speak other languages that are important around the world. For example, your very large Russian-speaking community here, and Russia is becoming more adept at using social media and the internet. What needs to happen is average Israelis need to tell their story. They need to challenge people nicely, to ask questions, like, well, why do you think the press said that this could have been a revenge attack? Does anything justify cutting off the head of an infant? And tell your story. If you do, you will win, because I believe that more often than not, Israel is right.
Chuck די-וור, from California, an independent newspaper writer and publisher. Thank you very much.
Thank you.